And you are live.
All right. Good evening.
Yes.
Folks. Welcome to Soul Citizens Friday Night Live. I'm here pretty much with your boy Dark Knight 75. What's going on, Dark Knight?
Yeah, pretty good. It's been a nice week. Finally getting to the PTU. We'll talk about that here a little bit later, but hanging in here, man. Having a good time. Ready to have a good time tonight. How's everybody in chat? Go ahead, is back here.
Yeah, well, everybody go get your sons, your daughters, your dogs, your cat.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get everybody and come out and hang out with us here at Friday Night Live. We're just having a good time, talking everything Star Citizen and some extra things tonight. Dark Knight, they got us talking about Star Trek. What do you think?
Oh man, I'm looking forward to some Star Trek. And the funny thing is, when I knew that the topic was coming, it reminded me I might as well go ahead and get my Paramount Plus, because I've been sitting there eyeing Picard for weeks. I'm just like, you want to watch it, just get it.
Yeah, we got to talk about good old man himself. Hey, Pops, it's good to see you face to face. Thank you for coming in as well. GG.
GG's out there. Hey.
All coffee. GG, by the way, GG, I do have to say, GG, I enjoyed your stream a couple of nights ago. She was playing this weird game. GG, if you could put it in chat, it was amazing watching her play it a couple of nights ago. And I believe she said that she had another part, like another DLC that she was going to go ahead and play for us. So, Little Nightmares. That was really, it was a good night. I enjoyed that night. I just snuck in the stream and I saw Gigi play it. So kudos to you. I just wanted to say that was, if you haven't seen Gigi stream, go in and watch her stream, guys. She's good. And the game she played, her and Griff always playing these scary games. It was a good game.
That sounds like fun.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So go ahead there, Kelosal. We're getting ready to start here.
Well, we got a lot of things to go ahead and...
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of things to go ahead and show tonight.
You guys want the trailer for Discovery, or want me to bring the guys down? Which one do you want me to do first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring some guys down first, Griff, and then we'll go ahead and have them in while they watch Discovery right along with us. So... I always see Admiral's up in here. Good to see him as well.
You got,
like I said,
Pops and Fist have joined you.
Pops and Fist. Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you doing?
All right.
Hey. Good. Glad you guys are spending some time with us. How you guys are doing tonight?
Absolutely.
Cool. This is the place to be.
Absolutely. Hey, Vengeful, how you doing? I love the year 1977. Very good year, by the way.
Quick question. What you got in that cup?
It's called coffee.
Oh, okay.
It's 11:30 over where you at.
Right. It's called coffee.
There we go.
Dark Knight, you got it, buddy.
That trailer. Hey, why don't we're going to watch the trailer here for the new Elite Dangerous update for Alpha. This is phase 3, and it is the exploration update, and it is called exobiology. And an exobiologist in the lore is recognized by the Pilots Federation, and they are on-foot scientific biologists. And in this particular update, we were given a suit and a scanning tool to go out and pick up samples of alien life from the different planets and moons that we visit, and sell them back to the station at a place called Vista Genomics. So we'll watch the trailer for that one, and then we could discuss what we think about that particular trailer. So let's go ahead and watch that there, Griff, whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, I'm Arthur, and today we're running down everything you'll need to know about organics and exobiology in 60 seconds, so start that timer. In Odyssey, we've completely revolutionised our planet system. This means new geological features and new pockets of organic life spread throughout the galaxy. Before you get started, you'll need to get dressed for the occasion, so bag yourself a Super Tech Artemis suit complete with genetic sampler. We've quadrupled the number of species, and for the first time you'll be able to sample any vegetation you might encounter. To track down organics, we recommend getting your wings and using the newly enhanced detailed surface scanner. This will generate a heat map whilst approaching a planet in Super Cruise, identifying prime locations which are capable of supporting organic life.
Surface scan complete.
Once you've found life, you'll need to use the sample tool to extract genetic data from your find. This will add data to your codex, but you'll need to find more examples in order to provide complete and saleable biodata. 3 samples will do it, but you'll need to take these from a wide area to ensure diversity. Your sampler has a pulse scan which will quickly highlight if a specimen is suitable. Once done, you'll want to head back to port and visit Vista Genomics to sell your data. Any organics logged at Vista will be displayed on the planet map alongside the first commander to log them. If that's you, you'll receive a bonus. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and please share your discoveries with us as we explore the Elite Dangerous Odyssey Alpha.
All right. So, why don't we just toss this over? Because I could go all day on this one. Do you want me to start first?
No, don't go all day. We got to get to the rest of the show.
Nope.
I mean,
All right. Let me. Why don't we go ahead and let the guys on the line here take that one? Pops, what do you think about this new trailer for the Phase 3?
Well, you know, I see it's kind of parallels what's going on in Star Citizen as far as the moon tech now and what they've added to these passes that is going through. Now it is interesting. I'm looking at the gameplay, Luke, and, gathering data. I just wish it was some animals there, some kind of beasts charging at you to give you, a sense of danger. Besides just the plant, something that eats the plants, insects or something like that.
Yeah, I could see that. How about you, Fist Face? What do you think?
Excuse me. I actually like the point of fact that you can get out your ship now. That you guys said that you couldn't.
Yeah.
I like the point of fact that you can get out now and actually walk around and and not just walk around. Now you can actually take samples of things and do stuff like that. So I know that's a big plus. They're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. How about you there, Admiral? What are you thinking?
I think I used up my time in that last comment I had, but I mean, it's good to get some difference out there, so I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, sounds good. Kelosal.
Griff, where's that muzzle at, Griff? Where's the muzzle? Because
don't say nothing. Well, no, you go ahead and put your 2 cents in. Go ahead.
Here's the deal. Elite Dangerous. I love Elite. I really do. I really do like Frontier. I think Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen are uniquely different. So I think it's always good to play both games. If you're a Star Citizen fan, you love Star Citizen. If you're Elite Dangerous fan, you're Elite Dangerous. And I would ask anybody or even beg anybody to play both and enjoy both. That's what I think as far as on a neutral level with the games. Now, of course, I have my bias towards Star Citizen because I think it's phenomenal. I think the path that's going on is great. But really quickly with the exo biology, I think Elite Dangerous is on the right path. I do think they're using tech that they already have in game with exploring systems and exploring planets. Now they move that to bios and biology and plants. So it's interesting to see them use that same technology. You can go ahead and scan the atmosphere, find the location, you scan the plant, and then you take it back and you get credit, or at least now everybody knows that planet has a plant life. Same thing with what they do with finding systems or moons or planets. So it's just the same tech, just now moving on to a different level, dealing with bios. I appreciate them doing that. I'd be interested to see how much they do when they finally are allowing you to use the plants and produce and make some production from it instead of just telling the whole world it's over here in this area.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead. That's great, Kelosal. Actually, you touched on something that I was going to bring up. So I'll just keep it short as I can on Elite Dangerous. But the good, you know, like Fist said, it's nice to be able to get up and walk out of the ship. Like I can say right now that all 3 of my favorite space games, I can now fly my ship to a planet, land on it, get out, walk around on the planet, scan something, pick something up, get back in my ship, and go back out into space. So I could do that now with all 3 of the games. Elite was the only one that was kind of holding out. Yeah, I'm talking about No Man's Sky.
Did you bring No Man's Sky into this? I was about to ask you.
I did. Hey, I love that game. As cartoony as it is, it's got its own beautiful little art style, and I think that's what it comes down to is art style. You know, so for Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous, 2 different art styles, each one very beautiful. So let me close that down. The good for Phase 3. It's nice to be able to get out of the ship. It's nice to scan something and have more to scan than just that one bio item, that bio signature that you would find on a planet. Now it's spread out over the planet, so you can land in various places to find various biological life, which is really nice. I hear what you're saying, Pops, about the finding creatures and whatnot out there, but that's just not built into their engine at all. They couldn't handle it. Yeah, they really couldn't. But I think that's cool. I like the fact that you know, that I can take those samples and take them back to the to Genomics and sell them for profit, and you know, maybe get something a little extra on the side for first discoveries.
Now,
So that's all good. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Now, when they said first,
Mm-hmm.
first one to bring back this information, did they mean first by the millions, the first one out of all the millions of people that played, or first?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if you ever play Elite Dangerous, when you find a system, it actually has your name. It calls the system based off of your name, and you can go ahead and sell the data so everybody knows where the system is. And so it's the same thing with this game here. I want to thank Lord Dream for subscribing. Looks like 3 months.
Yes, thank you,
Prime.
Lord.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Also, I want to go ahead and welcome. I saw chatting Stab Glass. Saw you chatting on there. Good to see you as well. So. I guess with that being the case, I guess it's time to go to Bethesda.
Well, wait, hold on. I want to ask a quick question, just real quick, very quick one. To Dark Knight. Now, obviously, you probably know more about this. Like you said, you can get out, walk on a planet. Can you walk anywhere on the planet, or is it specific?
Anywhere.
location?
Anywhere. You can land on any planet, any moon that you find. You can land on it anywhere, walk anywhere, get in anywhere. Whatever you find, it's all yours. If you find a base out there, you can walk into the base. You know, and the doors will open, and you can take whatever you want from there. You know, it is truly open to be able to do what you want. You know, there's really no barriers aside from every planet. Well, not every planet is landable. You know, the ones with the big atmospheres, Earth-like planets, water worlds, you can't land on those yet. And I don't think you'll be able to. The tech just ain't there yet. But any moon, ringed planets, whatever has a very thin atmosphere, you can land on those, get out of your ship, and walk around. Except for high G, can't do it on high G. You'll get crushed.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. But great game. I think Phase 3 looks great. There are some issues with it that I have some gripes with, and I really hope they fix them before this goes out to live. But I'm crossing my fingers that they'll get it done. I think they will, and they're moving in the right direction. I think they're moving in the right direction. And
I have a question for Dark Knight.
Well, we got to get ready to go because we're slightly behind, just a little.
I just want to ask a question. You brought up No Man's Sky.
Hurry up,
I see they're putting companions out there.
What's that?
They're bringing companions out at NMS.
Yeah, they got no
because I thought pretty cool.
Yeah, they sure are.
That's the only thing I like about it. Those companions look pretty cool. If they were, I don't know if they actually are, but I wouldn't mind that in SC.
With the new expansion, I think so. Yeah, I think so with the new expansion.
Yeah.
All right,
So
So Griff basically gave me this wonderful thing. So basically, first up on Bethesda's list is its brand new IP. And I'm interested in this game. It's called Starfield. I heard the music play. I believe it's the right one, and I was just in awe because I'm a musician myself. But Starfield is a return to a single-player RPG for the developer after Fallout 76. Thank you, Griff Departure. before it brings player into an environment new to Bethesda's space. Okay, Starfield will have procedurally generated planets and is reportedly Bethesda's biggest game to date, according to Todd Howard. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot known about this title. So, but with it being Bethesda's first new IP in a while and a return to a single-player RPG, a lot of players are excited to see what's coming. I'm excited to see what's coming. I saw the trailer. It was a sneak trailer. We're going to look at that really quickly if this is the same one, unless they got a new one out. But I love the music, and it just basically put me in the game. So let's go ahead and roll this clip real quick, Griff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I already know face to face. I'm gonna come to you. I'm coming to you face to face because you can't tell me that wasn't a good soundtrack. Fist.
Okay. It's not really a soundtrack, though.
Well, I mean, but you know it's gonna be a part of it. You know it's gonna be a part of it, and it caught my mind. Really, it really did when I heard it, and I was like, wow, this sounds great. And then of course we see a little teaser here. It really. I'm a musician. I'm sorry. It kind of captivates you just with the music alone, and you're wondering what does this have. So I'm gonna start with Fist first. Is this your first time seeing this trailer?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so tell me what you think.
I'm interested to see what the game is about. I mean, it's not. Now you got me confused. Oh man, I was getting ready to say what it is, but the trailer music, because it's not a soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it's all right. It's all good. No, I'm just playing. But say again.
It's usually always a part of it, or like a little.
No, it is. It's just I curious to see what this game is about. You said it's a single player.
It looks like a single player RPG from what I see. Yeah. New IP for Bethesda, and Bethesda needs some new IPs.
Yeah, they definitely do. But that's another subject. But I'm interested. I mean, from what I saw of it, doesn't really tell me too much. You know what I mean? I mean, besides, like you say, a good, nice trailer music. So I'm curious, but it's like, okay, and then leave me a little bit more.
I mean, one thing Bethesda knows how to do is they usually do very good script writing when it comes to story playing games. And they're very good with giving you a detailed, story-driven game.
Right.
The problem is they've had some shortcomings lately. But as far as this game here, Griff, do you know anything about when this game is projected to come out? Do they have either a date or something like that about Starfield?
This is actually Bethesda's first dive into something like this on a science fiction level, and it was production got slowed down a little bit because of COVID last year, but they put out an announcement back in March saying that it is going to release in 2021.
All right. Anybody in chat, hit us up, chat. Do you know anything about Starfield that you can share with us? Because like I said, when I first saw this, I was amazed just by some of the things. What do you think?
Plague Dealer made a good point. I'm hoping that it is a new engine that they use other than what they used in Fallout 76. Yeah. That is good, because that one was very bad.
Yeah. This is a brand new IP, so it has to be. If that's
I hope so. Especially if it's anything like what we see there that they're trying to get to or achieve. Yeah, new engine's got to be.
Is this a PC game?
Yes, it is.
I'm just skeptical on from what they did with 76. I'm just very skeptical.
Yeah, I'm kind of like
what they did with Anthem. I
didn't play any of those games.
Oh my gosh. Biggest disappointment. One of the biggest disappointments out there.
Yeah,
I watched trailers and I watched people play it first. I had people in my org, my Discord, like, oh, you gotta get Fallout 76. I'm like, no, I'll give it a few weeks, watch a couple more videos, and I didn't like what I was seeing, so I held off.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you on that one, Admiral, because me and Pops both, we pre-ordered, to get into the beta and got into the beta, and there was a whole bunch of bugs, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, okay, yeah, let me do that refund real quick.
That's was having a hard time with their games, right?
Yeah,
because I haven't fallen in. I think Fallout, or was it Fallout?
That's why
the last one I played.
Yeah, Fallout. Because see, that's one of the reasons why I was saying, kind of going back to it though. What you asked me though, Kelosal, was that what do I think about it? Yeah, I mean the soundtrack sound. I mean, you got me calling it a soundtrack. The trailer music sounds good. Trailer music sounds good, but I'm like, it's Bethesda, so I'm like,
Yeah, but Bethesda just got, and even in Anthem, I mean, Fastcar asked the question. Fastcar sat there and said, which is the bigger disappointment, Anthem or Mass Effect Andromeda? I'm sorry.
Anthem is bigger.
It's a tie.
Anthem from hell to high water, because Anthem screwed up with the algorithms. They screwed up with the numbers. Why is it that my Epic gun sucked compared to a default? I was really upset. Really upset with that. And so
listen, I can go on further than you about that game. So
I bet your Epic gun looked exactly identical to the default gun.
I will agree. I mean, but like I said again, it's still that thing where I'm kind of like, I have to really see it before, because anybody, now I'm gonna be honest with you, anybody can make good trailer music. It's not that hard nowadays. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. You French horns and all of that other stuff, but I'm like, let me see what this thing really can do before I dive into it,
I want to see some pictures. There's no pictures at all.
Nope.
It's just the opening space station.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing that for SC? Drop $40 on that game right now.
That space station show opened up. It looked fantastic.
I'm gonna drop a seed in here before we move on to the next thing. My seed is that, first of all, Bethesda's entering to a market of science fiction, which they haven't done beyond the apocalyptic stuff like Fallout. So that's the first thing. They're getting on the science fiction train with that. Secondly, if we're seeing this now, that means that they were in development on it probably 2, 3, 4 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see where everybody else tried to reveal stuff ahead of time. They have not done it. And there may be a reason why, because people have gotten burned when they've revealed stuff and got everybody all hyped. And then when the game came out, it didn't live up to expectations. So there may be some strategy in the fact that they throw this little piece out there to get you interested, but we may not see nothing until literally the game is ready to come out. Because there's been a veil over this project. And the last thing I want to say is that Fastcart mentioned that BioWare had part in this too. Over the last few years, all the companies that we all respected that stood independently, like BioWare, like Bethesda, have all gotten bought up now, and they're under Microsoft or whatever. So it's going to be real interesting to see whether or not they have the liberty to put these games out without the pressure of Microsoft pushing stuff out, or making things not the way that they used to take time to do. So I'm really curious to see what happens with this game in particular, because they're entering into a whole new genre with Starfield, and to get in with Star Citizen and Elite right now, it better be good.
Right.
It better be good.
I was just thinking that. Yep.
In other words,
especially as an RPG.
I'm gonna take.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say.
No, I was saying that we don't. I'm gonna take ST Youngblood's quote. We don't know shit.
Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say, right. They'll reveal this at E3.
On that point,
it's coming up, right?
Yep. So with that, the case, CitizenCon.
Hot
diggity, we finally got a date for CIG.
Yeah, and everybody can go.
Too bad I already spent money to go to California. But the date is October 9th, 2021. Okay, so go ahead. It is going to be all digital, all virtual. Okay, and so save your coins. You can always save your coins and think about good old Kelosal. Kelosal's going to be, probably popping up in the stream with a hole in his shirt that says, "Will you help me?"
We'll work for what?
I'm just curious as to why that may be, though.
You bought a ticket to go to California. Does it need now?
So I have to get my refund back from California, but it'll be all virtual. I will take my days off. What do you think, guys? Chat, let's go ahead and talk. Admiral, I'm coming to you, buddy. You gonna be there, or at least
It's
virtually?
Saturday.
Of course.
I'll be there this Saturday. I might. I think last year or the year before I went down and hung out with some other Star Citizen fans down in Rhode Island. So it was about an hour and a half trip. So I might hopefully maybe do something like that. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Pops?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. Absolutely. This will be my first. And I'm gonna have my sandwiches, my snacks, and everything else right there.
Nice. Fast Car said this is a day after his birthday.
Oh man.
Oh, that's a good birthday present.
That's good. I don't have to buy him a birthday present now.
Nope. Something to think about. Fist, what's going on with you, buddy? You gonna how do you think you're gonna go ahead and spend your time with this? Will the pocket be tight or loose?
Oh no, it's gonna be loose. That's why we're gonna break out that, we're gonna bust out that credit card. Most certainly. as we gamers say, right?
I'm interested to see if certain things are going to come out Dark Knight, certain types of new technology, or
I'm interested too,
wormhole or something like that.
I'm interested too. I'd like to see what they're gonna do.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe some ships, but they were talking about what kind of new tech might be coming down, or maybe we'll see some more glimpses of other systems, coming into play. I'll theory craft all day, but I mean, there's so much that we can look forward to. They said it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be there. I will. I'll be there waiting. Maybe 400 eyes said the Gatsby.
Yeah, Gatsby, don't do that, Gatsby. Don't get somebody happy up here.
Go watch out.
No Origin
fans. Origin for life over here, baby.
All over. He's about to put on his little He-Man shirt and about to take his shirt off over here.
Right. Me and Griff,
the refinery ship.
Maybe the refinery ship. Yeah. That would be nice. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in something.
I would like to see. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'll throw in something that's on the page here. If you read the description for CitizenCon, at the bottom of the first paragraph, it says it promises to be out of this world or perhaps out of this system.
Mm-hmm.
I said that earlier. I said anybody wants to see systems? I mean, come on, chat. What would you like to see at CitizenCon? What I would like to see is a date for Squadron 42. That's what I would like to see, but
now if I can throw my 2 cents in.
I see it. Plague Dealer.
There it is.
There it is right there. Plague Dealer has won it. Good for you, Plague. What you just said the magic word, Plague. You just said Pyro, which basically earned you a P-72 Kruger. Congratulations. Welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your
first
I like it.
Man. Okay.
Yeah, Plague. That's right.
He's like, oh my God, yeah, you got it.
He's like, oh my God, yeah.
I was waiting for somebody. I'm trying to slip in the little language.
Somebody was going to slip it.
All right, I got to.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Griff, tell us how Plague is going to get that ship.
Well, I have to make a slight amendment. Kelosal, he has a lot on his mind, y'all. But technically, it's only the people that come in chat that are supposed to get it. But since he gave it away to the person that was in the other chat, we'll go ahead and give it to him anyway.
Go ahead and get it. Go ahead and get it. So,
but we will still give it to Plague Dealer. So Plague Dealer,
that's great.
Reach out to us. You can either send it to direct message to Soul Citizens, or you can send it to soulcitizens@gmail.com. Make sure you send us your RSI name and email, and we will get that out to you.
I would like to fault the little gnomes that told me to go ahead and do that in my ear. So I would gladly read
Don't blame that.
These guys in chat.
Don't blame that. You can't blame that. No, you can't do that.
The guys in Discord ain't mad. The guys in Discord ain't mad.
Right. Well, it's good that they got it over there because the guys in Discord, they pretty much, they got together over there with those ships. I'm borrowing one day ship.
I kind of, I just want to say that off of that last little video there with the dancing, I do want to see a certain someone come back to the limelight in SC because I think the community misses her, and it would be good to kind of see her back in the throes of the.
Time will tell.
Yeah, I would like to see Ben Lesnick. I really would like to see Ben Lesnick at least.
I like to see him too. Yeah.
He's a good guy, and I hope all is well. We haven't seen Ben Lesnick in a hot minute, so it'd be nice to see a couple of those people. I do have some questions that I'd like to ask Mr. Redhead from Germany, or that's in Germany. I would love to ask him. Brian Chambers. We'd love to talk to Brian Chambers about that brand new merchantman.
You knew it was going to hit that later.
Who is Ben's wife? She was also a SC employee.
Yeah, she was mostly on. She was doing lore stuff, wasn't she?
Marketing.
I think it was like marketing, and I was just every time she's like, "Oh, she'd put something out," and then no one would respond. It was just like, bad for her.
Knight. So what? Any plans? Any ships?
If they have that Starliner out there, it might end up in my fleet. And if that 400 is out there, the Starliner will not end up in my fleet. No, I actually do want the Starliner. So if that ends up being up for sale during the CitizenCon, you better believe I'll get it. But that's also going to be right at. Well, no, IAE is after that. So yeah. So if that happens to show up, you better believe I'm getting one of those. For sure.
Yeah. Before we go to 3.13, I'm gonna have a shirt that's gonna have NO in the front, and in the back is gonna say Never Origin.
For life.
Just saying.
Oh,
that's all I'm gonna say to that.
Dark, I'm gonna let you take the next one, Dark. I'm gonna let you take this one, Dark. I gotta get back to my dog house.
Gotta get his thoughts back. Oh wow. Okay, so are we done? Let's see. We got updates. 3.13.0 PTU. Oh. What do we think about that? So we've got the patch notes that we had coming in here for at least for this last one, because I know that there is now another patch that went through for P that came through today. So let's see. We've got. Should I go down through the patch notes?
Yes, please, because I'm trying to pull it up. And
all right.
Well, you know what? Just do the stuff they fixed. Don't do the whole thing. It'll take too long because we're running like 20 minutes behind. We're behind.
All right, so the major bug fixes for this particular one, at least for the P, is that they have the emergency lights in the ship should no longer flash on and off excessively fast. I'm assuming that made your ship a disco inferno, huh? Fixed an issue causing planet terrain and assets can be seen visibly flickering and moving position when changing LODs. That seems like another disco inferno on a planet, probably. Star Marine and elimination should no longer end in a draw immediately after game start if 2 or more players join before the game start countdown is complete. I haven't experienced that one. I'm not sure if anybody else has. 1 server crash fixed, 1 client crash fixed. And that is for the latest PTU P that was released today. What do you guys think about it? Fist?
I was able to go in. We went in before we came in, tested it out for a little bit. So far, so good. You know, took a drive around, a couple of moons, Ariel, took some scenery, with the MT, I think. Yeah, right. That's the name of it. Excuse me. Yeah, and you know what? I really would like to say though, the driving tech, I guess they call it, the driving tech. It has come a big way. It has, because before, I mean, your car would kind of go into the ground, or it was not stable going over certain terrain. I mean, now it's like I'll be honest, because I always compare driving to GTA. When it comes to the mechanics of GTA and driving, and Forza and all of those other ones that really have that down packed, and I see that is really getting there, man. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, that'd be good for racing too. For all of those races,
because like all of the Stanton races that is coming up. I know Love Machine does is affiliated with that, and I mean that's a cool thing, because I mean that tech gets down packed, man. I would love to maybe compete in, not compete, but like participate in it, just to have fun.
I was thinking about it myself.
Just to have fun.
Right. Absolutely. And Pops, how about you? What did you think about it?
There's still a couple of
so far.
Yeah, still a couple of quantum bugs in there, but it's great that you don't have to go into your star map to quantum somewhere. You can just line up on it and fire it right on up. That's a big quality of life. And planetary tech again is coming along real nice. I think another pass will do, especially on the rock. But it's coming along real well. Coming along. Hopefully they get the last few things out before it goes live.
Yeah. Agreed. How about you, Admiral? What do you think about this latest wave of PTU?
I guess I'll pass because I haven't played it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the new vehicles, and hopefully get a Q&A for the Rock DS to see if they can explain what it's all about.
Excellent. Yeah, I think the PTU is working out pretty well. I've jumped in a couple times, and I didn't have too many issues with frames dropping and things. The load-ins for the stations was working better. I was able to load something onto my ship on my 600i. I was actually able to load a vehicle on there. It didn't work the second time I did it, but it did the first time, so I was surprised. Otherwise I think it looks good. We'll see. Hopefully it might get pushed to live this next week. I don't know. We'll speculate on that one, but it's looking good. All right.
I got a quick question.
Yes.
Do you guys know? I know we were on P today. Do you guys know? Because Kelosal, you mentioned earlier you thought that Board Gamer said that it was available to everybody. Is it still in Wave 1, or did they open it up to everybody? Do you guys know?
They opened it up.
I heard it was open.
Okay.
It's not in live yet, but it's open to everybody in the PTU.
It is open PTU.
PTU.
Okay, it is open PTU.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that means that it might go out next week then. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep. All right.
The only thing I want to say is on the vehicle, the new one that was on sale, the one with the rockets and the gun. Stay away from the wheels when you get out, because they will kill you.
That sounds close
to the wheel. It will kill you. Yeah.
This sounds so Star Citizen. Oh goodness, you gotta love it. Those little bugs. You gotta have fun with them.
Be careful.
I would say, in addition, be careful when you're playing with Griffin Gaming RPG. Because Griffin has a habit of sneaking off in the ways, just sneaking off like a cat.
Okay.
And sniping you and won't say a word. We were out. I gotta tell the story.
No, you don't.
Griffin deserves not one, but 2 hits from me, because he messed me up today. But today in chat, Griffin. But Griffin would have had, it was me, Griffin, Nihilus, and we all went out there and started just hanging around with the 600, the executive edition?
Yes, we're in executive edition 600.
Yeah, so we went out to we're having a good time and things like that. And all of a sudden, Griff goes away. I don't see Griff. And all of a sudden, I hear something go, and my whole screen starts to have this red blood splotch. And I was like, oh my God, did I get shot? Who shot me? Who shot me? Somebody shot me. And Nala is like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't shoot. Then all of a sudden, Nala sees me staggers and fall to the ground, and I'm dead. And Griff is like, oh, I did it. And all of a sudden, he's like, you're not dead, and I'm dead on the ground. And Griff is dying laughing.
Well, let's clarify what happened. I decided to try out to use the electron sniper rifle. Now, if you guys remember when it first came out, when you'd hit somebody with it, it wouldn't kill them. You'd have to hit them a couple of times with it, right? It would just stun them. Well, evidently they've increased the voltage on that sucker. So when he got hit, I looked in the scope. He was still standing up. So I said, "Oh man, he's all right," you know. Before he didn't have his helmet on, so he couldn't see he was dying. So he took a couple steps and just went boom and fell down. And we're like, "Oh no!" So,
oh man,
it was an accident.
So you guinea pig. No,
it was an accident.
It was an accident.
It was an accident.
Oh, bad
no,
stuff.
Gatsby. No, I do not own an executive, and I doubt if I ever will own one. But there is someone in our party who we will leave nameless who had one. I'll just say it that way.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. It was an accident. Even though he says that, he says he's gonna get me one day when I'm not looking. So I got to keep watching my back now from here on out.
He knows.
Just make sure you got that Cuddy Red nearby.
Y'all see that episode in Family Guy?
Respawn point.
Wait a minute. Let me say this. I went almost 200 meters away from him. I was like 150 meters. I went way out just to make sure that it wouldn't take him out, and it still took him out. So I'm letting y'all know at 150 meters to 200 meters, you'll kill somebody with that one shot. And it was in the chest.
Thank you for letting me know.
It wasn't even in the head. It was a chest shot. It was a chest shot, and he died.
Yep. It was horrible. It was a horrible death. Because my body shook, and I saw red splotches, and I'm sitting there asking questions. What? Somebody's out here shooting.
Okay. Well, it wasn't an insta kill, so you stayed alive. You had enough. Well, you would have had. You would have survived if you'd have been able to med pen yourself.
Right. Yeah. Well, if I had my helmet on, my helmet was off. So when I put my helmet on, I was able to see data. And by the time that happened, I was at 9%. It was too late for me to go ahead and come out. It was too late.
Hey, I have a question. The gold suit. You know, you guys were talking about concierge last weekend. If I'm wearing a gold suit around town and people know that I'm concierge, doesn't that put a big giant bullseye on me?
Nope.
Like, why is that?
No.
Well,
no, because you ain't the only one that got that suit.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's think like
post
alpha. Well, think about post alpha. There's an extra 2 million people in the game. Shouldn't that suit have shields?
You would think that it should have some type of special stat, but it doesn't.
Nope. It's a regular. It's a 20% armor, like regular armor is.
Yeah. No.
It should have Mass Effect shields.
On that note.
And a 3D orange blade that comes out of it too.
We will head over to Star Citizen Live, which I haven't seen yet, so I'm encouraged to see this. Griff, what was the title on this one?
This one.
It's the audio one.
Yeah, this is the one on audio. Yeah, this is from the audio team today. Mm-hmm.
Right, let's look at it.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live Audio Team. Audio
yourself some popcorn.
Looks like Audio Team Roundtable. We're off to a good. Don't laugh at me. I'm going to put your faces there. They're sitting here laughing at me already. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour out of the end of our week and we put our developers on the spot. Yes, we pull them from their important work and make them answer questions from you, the Star Citizen viewer. On the show this week, esteemed members of our audio team and Phil. So let's go around the table and introduce us. Tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen. Phil, we'll go ahead and start with you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm just Phil. I'm the lead sound designer for the audio team.
Lead sound designer. What does a lead sound designer do?
So I'll take the direction from Darren Lamborn, the audio director, and I'll work with the sound designers, the other audio disciplines in the team, like audio code. We've got Graham here, and we've got dialogue. We've got Bob, and we'll just work together to try and make sure we're hitting our milestones and make sure the creative vision, the technical vision is kind of achieved in game.
All right. Graham, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Hello, I'm Graham Phillipson. I'm lead audio programmer, and it's nice to be at this table again.
Look, I was not hired because I could speak clearly. It's like,
okay. I mean, I certainly wasn't either. So
the hosting parts are the parts that everybody sees, but that's not actually my job. This is the thing that I do on the side stuff. Explain what a programmer how does an audio programmer differ from an audio designer?
So an audio programmer is very much about implementing the vision of the audio designer and attempting to sort of model the real world sound you would expect from certain things, or the fake world sound that you might expect from a very fictional universe.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's all about writing lots of code to support what these guys want to do.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, the man with the greatest hair at CIG. Yeah, I said it, Brian. It's Bob Rizzolo. Bob, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Oh, you got me competing against Brian. No, that's bad. Yeah, my name is Bob. I'm the lead dialogue dude. Yeah, I mean, I make the words come alive. You know, it's very similar to what Phil said there. It's the narrative. They have the creative vision, and you know, we get the actors in, and we take it from you know, their performance and make it sound beautiful and get it in the game. And you know, especially with dialogue, it's a huge amount of assets in a lot of you know, especially these you know, narrative driven games, and it's a lot of basically organization and managing a ton amount of assets.
You make the words come alive and I kill them. I just murdered the words. All right, so today we are talking about generalized audio stuff for the Star Citizen persistent universe. We've got a designer, we've got a programmer, we've got a word dude. So as usual, we take questions live during the show. If you're watching on Twitch right now, you can submit your question with the word question in capital letters surrounded by brackets. It's going to help our community management team pull it out from chat and send it on to me. We also put up a thread earlier this week on Spectrum, our bespoke communication platform on robertspacindustries.com, and that let people submit their questions throughout the week and vote up the ones they wanted to see answered most. So as we are usual to do, we are going to start with that thread while the questions from live chat come in. And one of the most voted up questions in the chat, this shows up almost every time we do an audio show, guys. Are we expecting to get something along the lines of red alert in the future, or a bow station's audio to be controllable from the captain's chair? Something to tell everybody else on the ship that stuff's going down.
Mm-hmm. I think they're referring definitely to the ship computer voice, the ship computer kind of telling you this the state's happening. Yeah.
The ship computer voice, or just a
yeah,
red alert.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with you know, getting that situation to really occur and give us enough game data to make that happen. And I think a lot of right now, you know, a ship's life is rather binary. You're alive or dead, and there's a lot of plans in there to, you know, have, you know, a lot of components take damage and failure, and leading to you to have an imminent, you know, death, where you have an X amount of time to really have this drama unfold. And in order for us to really gain on that kind of, you know, that ship computer, that case, we really need to have that drama to happen for us. But also, you know, especially for a ship-wide announcement like that, we need the bigger side of it is to have, and we've talked about this before too, is that PA system within your ship, so that you can hear these ship-wide announcements from anywhere in the ship. And we're getting closer to that. Actually, we have that tech at its base core working right now, and we're using it in current features that coming out in the next release. So it is something that's happening, but to get it to the point of having it in all of our ships, that's going to take a lot of backlog work and things like that. So plus the tech is also in its early early days. So we are getting there. That is a vision, and I do like the idea this kind of question poses, where it's the captain can kind of trigger that use case as well, just to kind of like battle stations. I mean, that's how would you really determine that other than the captain saying that we think this is a battle stations scenario, so I'm going to trigger that as the captain, and I think that's a pretty cool idea. I would like to make that. I like to make that happen as a user myself. I think that's pretty cool.
I'm going to add a point of. Go ahead, Graham. I'll do mine after.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because everything we do is systemic. So from a tech side, we have a systemic VoIP system where people communicate with each other. We have a tannoy system that, although we haven't marked it up in all the ships, it is proven to be working. And we have a ship-wide audio channel for the VoIP for communication. So it's not a massive leap to then say, let's stick a microphone on the captain's seat and then give you a button you can press, and then you can talk to the tannoy system. It's like, because everything's systemic, there's not a great deal of work involved in doing that from a tech perspective. There is a huge amount of markup required in terms of making sure that the tannoy reaches every extent of the ship and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely a great idea. I love the idea. And if you're talking about having a player drive it, a player sets the alert state and a player talks to the rest of the ship, then yeah, it doesn't sound like a huge amount of a huge leap from where we are right now in terms of tech. But obviously, we'd have a huge amount of design and work to follow up with.
Yeah. And I do want to follow up when Bob said that some part of it's coming in the next patch. He's not talking about the player implemented part. It's a part that we're using.
Yeah.
That we're not going to tell you about yet. You'll discover it yourself. So just before the summaries go out there and be like, Bob said it's coming next patch. Let's see, what do we got next? I don't remember which show, ISC or QA perhaps, that this was mentioned, but the devs talked about ray tracing being used for proper audio directions. For example, if someone walks to the other side of the wall, you'll hear the sound come from the window or door instead of through the wall. Can you give us an update on this tech?
I certainly can, because I'm currently working on it. So right now, I'm working on some additions to the room system in the game, which are, those additions are not specific to audio. They're going to underpin how this audio propagation is going to work, but they're going to be used by other systems too. The AI team's interested in what I'm doing, and there are other systems that would definitely benefit from this thing. But I'm in the process of making it possible to efficiently traverse through our room system, and by efficiently, I mean I'm talking sort of thousands of queries per game frame, so that we can, we can make sure all the audio knows which path it should be taking, and then also we can help to inform the direction that AI should be taking to find a particular room and things like this. So it's got a long way to go. I'm not going to say anything about when it's going to finally make it into the game, but I am actively working on it, and it is my #1 priority right now. So obviously your priorities shift all the time, but yeah, this is very much in progress, and I personally, I think this is one of the biggest things I want to see in the game from my own perspective. So yeah, I'm really pushing hard to get this working.
Love seeing that 1,000-yard developer stare when times when it says priority shift sometimes in game development. But it is right now, it's my #1 priority. Yeah, game development, man. The only constant is change. Let's see, what's next? Let's look for in the chat here. Are there any updates for updating surround sound into the game? Is there a timeline when we can see a standard such as Dolby Atmos be incorporated? Thanks. This is from the director of North America marketing for Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, so spatialization is something we're currently exploring. So looking at enabling spatialization in WISE, which will allow backers to make use of Dolby Atmos, DTS, and window spatialization and stuff. The current version of WISE that we're on doesn't permit that release yet, but when we migrate to the new version of WISE, then it's something we can continue to explore. But it's important to note that when we enable that, it's the Dolby Atmos, DTS and stuff, that's third-party software. So although we can enable the feature, it'll be down to the backers to choose, which versions they want to go with. People might have just aesthetic preferences, which spatialization tool they want to go with. But beyond that, we still have a keen ear on surround support. It's been a bit challenging with working from home because we've all been working from home since March last year. And most of us are working in some have like spare bedrooms. I'm currently in my dining room and stuff, and we're doing our best to work in build the acoustic environment, have decent playback and stuff. But the practicalities of it is we don't all have room for 5.1, 7.1 systems. So that is a shame, but it's something we still have a keen ear on. But also beyond that, so we've got spatialization we're looking into, keeping an ear on surround sound. But we're also having a focus on fake HRTF, which is a head-related transfer function. A couple of our really talented sound designers like Fran Delpierre and Adi Kelch, they're really spearheading looking into attenuating sound based on the position of the emitter relative to the player. So what head-related transfer function is basically is things sound differently depending on where they are around you. If they're in front of you, behind you, above you, below you, the ear it attenuates the sound slightly differently. And we're looking to, in simplistic ways, try and telegraph that to the player. So when you're in a dogfight, for instance, you can kind of hear the sound changing and you can learn that, hey, that's above me, that's below me, because we're not just dealing with a flat plane like an FPS where things are in front of you or behind you or slightly above or slightly below. If you're in a 3D space, in a dogfight in space, then everything could be on all axes at the same time. So yeah, we understand it's massively important for a game such as Star Citizen and S42. So it's definitely on our radar and we are looking into it.
You've mentioned the conversion to the new WIs. I feel like we've been talking about that for a while. How's that going?
It's happened more than once in the meantime.
Yeah, it's an iterative process, right? But Graham can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've upgraded, probably since the last time we spoke, we've upgraded the version of WISE twice. Because we have the quarter release window, we have a window that kind of intersects with that for actually doing things like this, where we want to make sure we've got enough testing time, make sure there's been no sort of regression of issues in the middleware, things like this. So we always look for a big enough window for us to upgrade the WISE version, so as not to sort of risk the quality of the next release. So yeah, I think we did upgrade WISE in both of the previous releases, and we will be looking to upgrade it in the next one too.
Okay. Are there going to be is there going to be NPC radio chat in the verse? For example, when we're getting near a station, that our radio captures the chats of other NPC pilots, folks, NPCs calling for landing clearances, stuff like that, that we'll be able to overhear.
Yeah. I mean, I've had chats with Dave about this a few times, and I think this might have even come up in previous QAs. But the idea is definitely that we want to have that kind of when you're like a pilot has in a typical aircraft, they get other chatter on an open channel. And that concept is something that we really would like to have for Star Citizen as well. I mean, the main thing that really holds up something like that is just pure content. I mean, to have conversations like that back and forth with many different actors, and enough to make a feature like that very interesting. It takes a lot of recording time, so it's something that's going to take a bit of time to get into, but it is on our roadmap. It is something that we really want to achieve, especially for interactions with the ATC and having people kind of overhear other people parking and things like that. We want that kind of feeling of life going on around the landing zones, and that's really important to us. That life element is really something that we're in general is really something that we're putting a lot of focus on as of late. So yeah.
One cool little thing I was speaking to Darren, the audio director, about is in the future looking to doing going through jump gates and wormholes and that kind of travel is it'd be really cool if we could, with permission, record the like VoIP or VoIP input of any player, and then play that back whilst they're in these like altered states traveling through wormholes, as if it's like warping the reality of time and space. There's many hoops to kind of jump through before we even like start exploring that, but I think it'd be really cool to kind of hear back some comms like all processed, reversed, and stuff, just to give that ethereal feeling as you're very like interstellar kind of traveling through this medium.
That would be very cool.
I can feel my backlog growing as we speak.
Sorry, Graham. Yeah.
We'll talk about backlog in a bit. Everything that we ask the game to do requires some amount of resources. You know, it's whether it's audio, visual, effects, gameplay. We're always balancing resources. This question from the live chat is basically: is audio in the live build dependent at all on server performance? Or rather, I guess we'll rephrase it: does server performance affect the quality of audio that players are hearing in the game right now?
That is a very that I could probably take up the rest of this episode.
It's cool because I want to
SC
get a
Live.
drink. So go ahead.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So I'll try to give you the shortest answers possible while Jared gets a drink. So the server performance doesn't directly affect the audio performance on the client, but what it does do is if the servers are running at low frame rate, then that affects how quickly game events happen. And most of what we do as audio tech is hanging off the end of a game event. So if you do get a degradation in server performance, audio being sort of late is a potential knock-on that you can have from that. But in terms of quality of audio and in terms of whether you sort of hear anything like audio dropouts or things like that, that should never happen. The server doesn't have any influence over that sort of thing. That's the shortest answer I could manage for.
All right, we'll allow it. What's the approach when you design the engine sounds of a ship of a particular manufacturer?
Well, I'll take that one then. So what we'll do is we'll look at the manufacturer and see what the kind of the brief is about those. Like, are they aligned with military? They're more aligned with alien tech. Are they cheaply made? Are they well made? Then we'll look at the ship specifically. Is it a fighter? A hauler? Is it meant to be focused on mining? Anything in particular to that? Then we'll have like a creative kickoff and pull in references from other ships that we have and see where there's any parity and stuff. And then we'll kind of generate a style guide and then start generating source, look at references, and then start to implement them and then tune them in game. So we'll get them in Wise because a lot of the sound effects only really come together at runtime in the ship. So when you're flying a ship, it's kind of like you're playing like a musical instrument in a way, because we'll implement all these different layers and one shots, but it's actually the ship's movement and input that actually triggers all these. And we have different RTPCs that will attenuate sounds in pitch, in volume, high pass, low pass, and effect based on the action, the input from the ship. So as a high level, we go, this manufacturer typically does military ships, so everything sounds really robust and aggressive. And this ship is like a fighter, so everything needs to be sleek and fast and not too bulky. And then start tailoring the sounds to that. And that doesn't just specifically mean pertain to thrusters. That could be anything like moving parts, ambiances, any kind of component work and stuff like that. We want to try and establish like a brand identity for each manufacturer, and then with each category of ship, make sure it sounds appropriate. So you've not got a fighter that sounds like, a giant whale of a cargo ship and vice versa.
All right. Bob, I think this one's right up your Hallie here. Has there been any consideration of adding background conversations, doesn't need to be understandable, to help increase the realism of crowds of AI? Right now, when you go to a space populated with multiple AI, like a spaceport at New Babbage or exposition halls during shows, there is no sound from the AI characters talking to each other, and it seems unrealistic. Talk to us about Walla.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the indiscernible dialogue that kind of question alludes to is Walla, but in general, liveliness kind of comes from having lots of layers. You have a background and a foreground and a middle ground and or even more than just those 3 layers for dialogue, and it's a little bit more complicated than you kind of might think. In general, the Walla, as it would sit, is a very static bed of looping bed. And, and it doesn't really do much to help sell when the, population of a room changes, if it grows or decreases, or if the mood changes, or if the player has an impact on the mood, and pulls out a gun in a crowd and starts firing out, don't do that. But if that were to happen, the crowd would change, and you would want that to kind of hear that. So it's quite a more impactful system, and we actually have a real goal to really achieve this, and we want to do a dynamic Walla system that actually really accounts for players coming and going, the size of the population, what the even kind of the economic status of what the population would be, or their mood, and how things change like that. And that's something that's really heavy on our radar. But that's even just the Walla. That's just the background. We want to we have the foreground, which I think they're also kind of alluding to in this conversation too, of actually seeing players having a conversation, and a lot of that is very dependent on behavior and AI behavior, and again, alluding back to what I said before about conversation trees and like that chatter, that's a lot of content with a lot of actors, and but mainly, especially that it depends on behavior and acknowledging those 2 characters, acknowledging that they're in a shared conversation, that one person said this topic and now I need to comment on something that makes sense from that topic, and then they want a rebuttal after that, and you want to have like some kind of at least a 3-way back and forth of a conversation, and that takes a lot of effort, and it's a lot more complex than you might think. And then that again is just the foreground, and so then you have the background needing this system, the foreground needing its system, and then well, what do you do about kind of gluing those 2 together? And this is something that we've been really trying to achieve more recently, because it's like a kind of a filmic kind of thing where you're trying to showcase sound unseen. And so we don't really want to allude that there are people actually talking right there with you or whatnot, but we want to hear that there's conversations coming about you that's not part of that static bed. And so we kind of have this it doesn't call out to you, but it doesn't kind of wash away. It's just kind of, it adds like a pepper and some spice to what would be an otherwise static kind of bland bed. And that's what you've seen it in the cargo and refinery decks. You're gonna see it in our new location for Orison. We're trying to achieve a bit more of that, and it's gonna kind of help glue some of the stuff together, while we still really need to put a lot of effort into these systems that are a bit more complicated than you might think. So, but it's definitely heavy on our minds right now, because that's like a big thing for us, is feeling that life in a space, even if we don't have the tech or ability yet to do that. We want to try to achieve it in any way that we can, and even in the interim. So we're doing our best.
Yeah, just to add, on the end of that, the reason these things take time is because we try to do everything systemically. We try to solve the problem for the whole picture, rather than solving specific cases by adding beds that suit a particular area. And that could mean that when the tech's not ready yet, certain areas, like you mentioned in the question, can feel a little bit like they're lacking some life and some color. But what we're looking to do to solve that is not to just artificially throw that life and color in, but it's to throw in a system that allows us to color whatever space it might be. So it's not just about wallets, it's not just even about characters. It might be that, you know, you could walk into a room full of, say, hospital beds, and we could have a system that allows us to recognize that there's a lot of hospital beds in this room and gives it that kind of calm audio background that a hospital room has, because it's found all these objects in it, and, you know, this kind of idea. So we're looking to make a system that basically allows us to color every part of the universe.
We've got to work at scale, and you know, one of our buzzwords is bespoke, but a lot of times we try to avoid a bespoke solution. You don't want one solution for the hospital, and one solution for the convention hall, and one solution for the space station. So that you need something that can hit everything all at once, so that we can so that when we keep adding these new locations, these new star systems, these new things, that we don't have to keep doing the same work over and over again. It's just tweaking variables.
And again, looking at that big picture of content, it's like we try to get a little bit at a time. You know, we're getting this content that's going to take a long time to get. We are getting it a little bit at a time, and it just takes a lot of time for that for getting those kind of big dialogue trees going.
It's hard. We can be as impatient as anybody sometimes. We want it just as much as anybody else. Have you started exploring the sounds for creatures like the space whale yet?
So that's me. We've got early concepts that we're looking at, but we've not really dug into it yet. I think the first one is going to be the space whale for in and around Horizon, right? So that's going to be really interesting, because it will be a big collaboration between sound design and dialogue design and code, because we're like, we need this to make a sound. Can you build this implementation so we can hook into it? And then speaking with Bob, and it's like, what is our baseline for creature sounds? Like, how big are they going to be? Like, what are they going to sound like? And then just starting building some mock-ups and then refining it. So yeah, early days, but nothing concrete yet.
It's also important to acknowledge the behaviors of what these creatures can do, because then you have a mixture of the different kind of, you know, can they eat? Can they attack you? Can they are they going to be, you know, sleeping or quiet? You know, it's really it's about, you know, capturing that essence and their emotion, and the different things that they can do. I'm not sure what the oars and whales can do other than looking really pretty. I mean, I'm sure I don't know, but the you know, as we expand, especially expand on the fauna, that is kind of the biggest thing, is looking at all the different things they can do and kind of making them really feel like a real living creature.
It's a really good point about the behavior, because, you know, you almost have to establish a language, right? Like, can it sound angry? Can it sound sad? Can it sound happy? Can it sound aggressive? You know, are there any gameplay cues that we need to support? Like, it's about to attack you. You know, what's that gameplay loop? Or will they make certain attack calls before they kind of come after you or something? Or, you know, if it's like a hunting mechanic, I'm not saying there is one, but how do we respond to that with sound? You know, we really need to understand what the whole gameplay loop requirement is of said fauna.
As a follow-up question, can you demonstrate for us one of those early concepts you were looking at, Phil?
I think Graham's been warming up his vocals for this, haven't you, Graham?
Which one do you want? Do you want space whale or pyro crab?
Space whale.
That's what I've got so far. It's the best. Obviously, if you put a huge amount of reverb on that, you know, it's going to sound like me making that noise.
Well, I think that's shippable. I'll get that rendered, and
I don't think I didn't hit record. Always the case.
And space crab, since you offered.
Our space crabs, I can't do that with my vocal cords the way they are after the space whale.
I tried chatting. Yeah. All right. Here's an old chestnut. This comes up every single time we do one of these shows. Is a more rigorous simulation of sound on the table? Doppler effect, sonic booms, sound actually traveling across distances or being delayed, no sound in space. What do you got for us?
Sonic boom.
Honestly, if you guys just put the sonic boom in, you could just coast the rest of this game. It comes up every show.
It does, and it's tricky. We understand why people want it. So what we've made an active decision to not go along with the speed of sound in the game. That's primarily because as soon as something happens in the game, you want the audio feedback there for gameplay reasons. So as soon as something happens, you want to hear it. And what a sonic boom is if you've got, say, an observer of an aircraft moving faster or at the speed of sound, the sound builds up at the front of the aircraft. So it's basically like a wall of sound that persists. And now, as the observer and the aircraft passes by you perceive that as like a transient boom. But it's just a wall of sound passing your singular location and stuff. So what we do with ships specifically is we have like NPC proxy pass by loops, which is a kind of in atmosphere specifically is the kind of rippage usually associated like jet engines and whatnot. And then we have bespoke flyby sounds that are triggered when certain conditions are met. The ship is moving at a certain speed. It'll vary which flyby sound it plays, and then how close it is to the player. Now, to scratch that itch for sonic booms, we currently have quite heavily designed flyby sound effects that are quite sci-fi. Now, for in-atmospheric flight, what we could do is look to introduce more kind of a typical sonic boom elements in these pass-bys. So there'd be a bigger delineation between a pass-by in space versus a pass-by in an atmosphere. Just to give that kind of that feel of boom. But we don't typically honor the speed of sound because that would be massively expensive to calculate one. But that's not saying it's completely off the table because we might play with it creatively. If there are certain contexts where you want that delay between visual and sonics just for an impact, say if it's in the cutscene or something, so we are aware of the mechanic. It's just it's something we try and move away from gameplay wise. But I don't know, Graham, like how just blue skying, like how expensive do you think it would be to create a system that would accurately map speed of sound over distance in varied pressurized environments? Because the medium would determine the speed of sound, because sound moves faster in water, the denser the medium, than it does in air. And then you have to, given the different atmospheric pressures of the different planets and the how thick the atmosphere is at different altitudes, it'd be
and
quite...
then send it out to 100 different clients at
it
various
would,
points on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it would be quite a large undertaking. There would be two possible approaches. One would be to delay the audio itself, so adding a delay step to the playback of the audio, which would it would be expensive a little bit in terms of CPU, maybe not so much, but it would use a heck of a lot of memory because you'd have to be storing up all your audio and waiting to sort of play it when the time comes that you should play it. And that will be applied across all sounds, so that would be prohibitive. The other option would be to effectively delay any events that affect. I'm being asked during a meeting. Let me just decline. This is the problem with us being at home and doing everything on our PC.
It's just the kickoff that I've just invited you to for the fleshing out the speed of sound. Oh,
thanks,
there
Matt.
we go.
Yeah, appreciate it. So the other approach would be effectively to delay all the events that affect the audio. So if a weapon fires, you'd kind of store up the fact that it had fired, and then at the point where you want, the delay times, you would then fire it. But again, you've got the same problem of having to queue up all these actions that happened and then play them back after time. And it would just be a hugely sort of complex undertaking. But I think really that's not why we don't do it, because we would be able to do it. We would find a solution. That's what we do. I think the big problem goes back to what Phil mentioned earlier in this call, which is that for gameplay reasons, it doesn't make sense. Like if somebody's firing at you, you want to know. If audio is the thing that tells you that somebody's firing a weapon at you, you want to know straight away. You want to know that you've got time to spin around and see who it is. And if you have real speed of sound delay, you can be dead before you hear the shot. and that doesn't make for a fun game. It might for some people. Some people might be big fans of sort of sniper games and things like this, but this, our game does a lot of things, and to focus on that style of gameplay, I think would probably be wrong.
Everybody else in the company working to make things more performative and more faster on the audio team here, trying to slow everything down.
Yeah.
Gosh, it has to be a Carrick question. Might there be a system that lets me play music for my crew on the Carrick? Just the Carrick specifically, not all ships, during the long hours in space?
It's a good question. I mean, I think we've skipped over the jukebox question, and if you don't mind, Jarek, I'd like to sort of
do it with the jukebox. It's the same thing as the old subscriber jukebox. Hit it.
Yeah. So we're aware that the jukebox is broken. I think what I wasn't quite so aware of is how popular the idea of resurrecting it is, because it was quite high the list of questions. That same tech could certainly be used for playback of music in any ship. We would have to suggest the idea to design.
Just the Carrick.
Okay, just the Carrick. Okay, yeah, that'd be easier. Yeah, I mean, it's a flair item, and the jukeboxes, and anyone who knows me knows I'm a big fan of flares. So we'd be able, we should be able to get that working without too much trouble. It's been sort of pushed down the schedules due to priority for quite some time, but I think it does seem that people want it. So we'll review that certainly next time we come to look at the schedules. And I think in terms of adding maybe a little music player that uses the same tech and can be placed in the ship, that's not a huge thing to ask for, because the tech would be the same. But obviously we would have to talk to people like designers and that kind of thing. We would have to get it.
And you only have to do it for one ship, so.
We only have to do it for the character.
Yeah. But with that, we have to be careful, because if we enable people to effectively stream music to other gamers, then
that's not what this is. Let us be clear. This is just playing music locally.
Client only. Only for you. You wouldn't be able to stream any music to anyone else, because then you infringe on copyright and licenses and stuff like that.
Now that was actually the specific wording. Let me play music for my crew. So they are talking about the streaming of music to.
No, that's a good point. Okay, let's rewind everything I said, and I'll just say no.
Yeah, don't blame us. Blame the RIAA. All right. Let's see. What challenges are there in working on Pyro's audio compared to that of Stanton?
I can take it from like a sound design aesthetic point of view. So Pyro's palette is massively different, like visually to Stanton. So it's a lot more turbulent, and with that are going to come unique challenges. Like the planet's going to be different, the moon's going to be different, have a completely different vibe. So if you've got a Stanton palette and you've got a Pyro palette, they're in themselves their own beasts, and then you establish like, what does Stanton feel like? What does it embody? What do you want to sound like? And then same with Pyro, and then filter that down, similar to the ship thing, right? You build like a style guide of what you want Pyro to sound like. Do you want to sound dangerous and foreboding? And then how do we filter that down and realize that on this particular planet or this particular planet, and then take in some specifics from each of those. It's going to be, it's a load of fun, because there's quite a lot to work with, and we've learned a lot working on Stanton. So the Pyro stuff is it's really nice to get our teeth into. But it's new uncharted territory. The tech and tools have improved and grown in scope since I started on the project and working on Stanton. I think the actual ability to put sounds in and tailor them to the experience is much improved. We have a greater deal of fidelity, but I think the main challenge is really having that feel shift between Stanton and Pyro. So when you're in Pyro, anywhere in Pyro, space traversal, or actually on planet, you feel like you're in that system versus Stanton. So hopefully we can achieve that.
wanted to add too that there's a discipline here that's kind of missing some representation. Music, well, I think will have a really big impact on selling the emotional aspect of where being from either Stanton or Pyro. And that's I think a very critical element when feeling out a different space. So in a lot of cases, it's meant to not be very obvious either, the way music affects you in that kind of sense. So, but
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Have you heard anything from Pedro on Pyro yet?
No, we're not engaging music on Pyro yet because we've got other priorities, shifting priorities. You know, Jared. But that'll be a big undertaking because Stanton's been all consuming, right, for the project, and Pyro is a huge shift, working on a completely new system, and it's going to be a lot of fun working with Pedro, fleshing out the music for that.
I was gonna say he usually sends me the early stuff first, to get my opinion. I'm like, he hasn't sent me anything yet, so I was gonna be disappointed if you guys had heard things and I hadn't yet. Will the Wilhelm scream appear in Star Citizen or Squadron 42?
Maybe
No.
it's already in there. Oh no, it's not.
Absolutely not. No. We understand it's a trope and stuff, but essentially it's a joke of the sound designer from Star Wars, Ben Burt, was putting it in, and then it was an in-joke of him putting it in a lot of films, and it being just recognizable. But it's a lot of people do it, but if you're aware of it, you'll be in the experience, watching the film or playing the game and stuff. And as soon as you hear it, you're just taken out of the experience. Immersion's kind of broken because you hear this sound effect that's been, or this dialogue asset that's been in so many other things. So I don't think it would find a place in either of the projects. But dialogue, it's Bob's domain. Maybe he really wants it, and we can duke it out.
We're waiting for
Gotta give him hope, Phil.
We're waiting for the Huckabee screen to be delivered that we can use that instead.
For a second, I considered doing it, and I'm not going to do it. Pause there. I'm like, being a gas giant, and as such, unlike any other planetary body in the PU, is Crusader getting particularly different sounds, such as there being no ground, sand, foliage, and so on?
Yeah, so looking at Crusader and Horizon, the landing location like Sky City, we've obviously been syncing with art really, really closely. And wind is going to be a big hero character of that location. So yeah, we have wind and weather and stuff in other locations, but we'll be spending particular attention on crafting the wind and the ambience of that location to make it sound good. Wind is essentially just shaped broadband noise, so it's going to be slightly challenging, but there's the actual landing location itself to tie into, and that's going to have a lot of opportunities to have nice audio tidbits. But regards to the Crusader, the planet, with it being a gas giant, I think one thing we can really play with is the idea of pressure. Now we don't want audio to be driving gameplay decisions and features and stuff, but what I'd like to explore is the idea of pressure on the ship and then the audio feedback you would get regards to atmospheric pressure, because you'll never be able to get to, there is no surface to get to, but the further down you go, the more pressure you'll be taking on the hull of your ship. Think like a submarine underwater, and how they can creak and groan, all that kind of stuff. So I think it will provide some opportunities for how the environment of Crusader can affect the likes of the ship and whatnot.
Cool.
I'm hoping we'll see some contrast to the inside and outside too, right, Phil? I mean, you have to think about the outside being so windy, but then the inside being nice and calm and serene. You get a bit more sharper contrast between the indoor outdoor
Yeah,
space.
get that juxtaposition from being inside, being sheltered, and then being out on the kind of open gantries and stuff. Yeah, and with Horizon specifically, it's making sure that the different districts, the different areas have their own kind of feel as well. They're all in the same environment, being up in the sky, but it's making sure that each one has a different feel, and maybe each one deals with the wind slightly differently. If there's a more business functional area, then it's making sure that everything just sounds functional. They're not trying to make the external traversal pleasing, whereas like the communal area, like where the shops are and stuff like that, making sure that it's they're protecting their the people on foot.
Got a follow-up question to our space crab and space whale question here. How will you create the sounds of the creatures in the verse? Will you just modify the sound of Earth animals, or do you create them from zero?
Taking all our secrets.
Yeah, I don't know. Bob, do you want to talk about some dialogue design stuff, or I can approach it from some sound effects stuff?
I mean, the idea behind it, in general, though, is finding like sounds, and when, you can take a real Earth animal, or even use your human voice to create a base of something, and then having like sounds and processes, and working with that to create something new. Is kind of the key there. I mean, but you don't have to start with a real animal source to get a real feeling of a being. It's just it's a matter of how that sound interacts, or how you can play with that sound to make it sound like a living being. So and that's what's really special about sound design or creature design in general. It can really come from any kind of source, and whatnot, but it's just about what's the palette that you're looking, or what's the sound, or what's their function, that really kind of sets you up with what's your source really.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do a lot. So one technique that's used is dinosaurs, kind of birds and stuff. You slow them right down. So if you record at a high enough sample rate, so say you record at 192 kilohertz, you can really slow that down, and you don't lose fidelity of the information. So you can take like a tweet from a bird and pitch it right down to make it sound like a behemoth, kind of like Stegosaurus or something. What's on the market now is certain microphones can record frequencies way above what the human ear can perceive. So we can hear up to about 20,000 hertz, but there are microphones that can record like up to 90,000, 100,000. So it's audio content that we can't even perceive. Now, if you record at 192. And then above the 20k range, so you're recording at say 100k, and then you pitch all that stuff down, you're moving stuff down that is unperceivable to the human ear into the audible range, and it's also at a high fidelity because of the sample rate. So you could take a bird recording, a walrus, a horse, and you could pitch it down. You hear all this hidden content that is out there in the world, but you just can't perceive it. So you can draw upon that for sure. And then the other thing we can do for like creature design is use plugins that can morph sounds together. So you can get the sound of one thing and take that its impulse, its dynamics, its frequency content, and have that morph with a completely unrelated sound. You can get like a dolphin and a chainsaw. So you can make a chainsaw that has all the articulation of a dolphin call, or vice versa. So that's a good technique to employ, or just like as Bob said, like making the kind of like vowel sounds, like sounds of like the vocal tract. There's loads of formant filters out there that you can make things sound like ooh, ah, ee, ow. That really grounds sounds in some kind of creature, because it's all relatable, right? All these vowel formants that we all make. And that's a trick that we do for wind. If you want wind to sound creepy or ominous, you'd put an element through a formant filter. So as you walk past a door, it's like, ooh, You go, that's creepy. And then not going in there. No, thank you. But yeah, so there's loads of techniques we can do, and it's going to be, creature design is really fun. And you'll come up with some absolutely ridiculous results, and that's part of the fun. So yeah, looking forward to that.
If there's not a ship in the verse named Dolphin Chainsaw within the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be disappointed. Also,
epic.
Bird.
I might grab that.
Verse. Usually I'm against this, but somebody go to Reddit and create a thread that says that Phil confirmed Dolphin Chainsaw for Star Citizen today.
Absolutely.
Just so I can get the email from Chris.
It's the parasite docking creature for the space whale. That's what it is.
Any audio Easter eggs you can tell us about?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're a little light on that. I'd love to put more in.
Stupid focusing on real work.
Yeah, so with the shifting priorities, Jared, it's quite hard sometimes to. Basically, we're focusing on getting the work for releases done, focus on getting squadron work done and stuff. There was an Easter egg in ages ago. There was the grey cat buggy that you can drive around the hangars and stuff, right. And as a laugh, we replaced the horn with like a foghorn. So rather than a beep beep, it was like a horn. But that was years ago now. But yeah, no, I'm all up for Easter eggs. So when we start getting around to like polishing things, and finalizing things out, then I'll be within reason and not doing anything I'm not meant to be. I'll happily put some stuff in there.
Okay. Graham. VoIP.
Yes.
That's it. That's just the question. VoIP.
Okay. I have the question in front of me.
VoIP is less than perfectly reliable in my experience for party chat. And even in my own home, the 3 Star Citizen players use Discord instead. When can we expect a bit of love for this important subsystem? I'd like to discover that can other people hear me, and am I not hearing other people quickly and easily for now at least?
So the good news is that when you can expect a bit of love for this important subsystem is in the quarter that just ended, because we've been working on it all the way through since the beginning of the year, trying to improve all the stability, get rid of all the connection issues that we've had. And all that is now going to be in the next release. All that work is already submitted. Obviously, we have to wait until that build goes out to know just how much we've achieved. But I am very confident that you're going to find that the VoIP stability is way better than it ever was. We are aiming, if we find any more issues, we'll be jumping straight on them, because we are aiming for this to be 100% reliable. We want people using this feature. We've put a lot of work into it, and it's so important for us that people use that system that we've put so much work into. So yeah, we've done a lot of work on it, and we would love to hear your feedback.
Send your letters to Graham Phillipson, care of Cloud Imperium Games UK, Winslow. I don't actually understand how UK addresses work. I was going to make an address up. Your addresses are so different than the US addresses. I'm just.
At least we've got our dates the right way around, though.
I actually do prefer the European way of writing dates. So
you mean the correct way?
Yeah. I also like metric systems. So go. Go figure.
No. To me, the only correct way is year, month, day, because that makes
to be fair. Since I seconded and worked on dialogue with you, Bob, like all of my files, all of my archives, they do the year first, then the month, then the day.
Oh, is that not what we're talking about? I do year, month, date. Is that not what we're talking about?
Oh, because obviously we have studios here in the UK, we have studios in the US and stuff. But sometimes you get a date which is the day and the month are interchangeable. I think what I see from the US, they put the month first, then the day, then the year. And over here, it's always day, month, year.
Oh, you do day
I got first 2 digits of the year,
no.
then the day, then the month, and then the last 2 digits.
It's all 4 digits of the year, then 2 digits of the month, 2 digits of the day. That's the way to do it.
When you're deving and working, that's really useful. But if you wrote the date like that in the general societal world, you might confuse people.
That's why I'm still single. All right. I bet chat loved that diversion. Cyberpunk introduced completely new bands to fit in this kind of genre, like Samurai. I already know that there's a metal band called Clover in Star Citizen. Will we ever hear official tracks from the fictional bands in Star Citizen in the persistent universe?
So with this, I think it would come down to syncing with narrative and with Bob, because if they're writing lyrics, presumably have to be in law, right, and appropriate. But what is challenging on the music side, because we have composers, we have Pedro on the PU, and we have Jeff on S42, and we do compose some music internally. It's really trying to establish what music would sound like in law, in the verse, that far in the future. Like if you were to put some AC/DC kind of rock in the game, it would be out of place. So if we do start to flesh out more like diegetic music, which is music from in the world, it's always got to have this sci-fi take on it, and make sure it sits well in the setting. But yeah, I'll defer to Bob about how you'd engage with narrative and kind of kick off that process.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I know of a little bit that we've done, but that's for Squadron, so I can't talk about that. It's a great idea. It's a great concept, and it's something that I know narrative are very interested in, because they already have named these names of these bands, and I mean they put them in there so that we can have things to talk about in these conversations that I've alluded to earlier. These trees, we want to have things to talk about the universe, and a lot of times they talk about music or like their favorite this or that or whatever, like food places to go or brands or things like that. So that we're building all of this in our universe, and music makes sense to have as well. And so, but yeah, Phil is definitely right. It's going to be, I mean, it's not just about naming them and referencing them, but tying them to real assets and having them have a real sound and kind of this persistence kind of feeling of these bands or just these entities in general in the universe. And so it's very much on narrative to kind of for them to push that for us. But we will definitely build a relationship to I think having more music identified like that is pretty cool. So I'd like to push it.
If you're challenging the narrative team to start coming up with bands so that you just created yourself a whole bunch of work, they will absolutely do it. Okay. All right, we have got 2 minutes left, so let's do a lightning round. Quick answers for these ones, the quickest answers you can, so we can squeeze some more questions in. I remember a time ago it was said that debris of an exploding ship could be heard when they hit our hull. Anything you have to tell us?
Yeah, so on the back of an explosion, there are several different variants of debris triggered if you're in close proximity to the explosion. And VFX are working on more physicalized particles hitting your ship, so we'll be putting sound to those.
Cool. The sound of quantum travel when a ship is arriving at your location sounds odd and unrealistic. Any plans to change or improve that soon?
Yeah, so QT stuff is kind of is slightly legacy, and the QT mechanic has increased in scope since our first pass of it. So we do try and tackle these things in tech debt. So it's on our radar. It's something we'll look to do.
Okay. What's the tonk sound like?
Epic.
Tonk tonk.
Let's see. Voice commands for communicating with the ship, like our own version of voice attack or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Sorry, Bob.
No,
it's
no,
in the backlog. It's in the backlog and consistently 2 years out from being started work on.
Geez, yeah. I mean, I will say that it is I mean, as a player myself, that is like one of my biggest dreams, to be able to walk around and speak into like the VoIP, speak into the mic, and have an NPC acknowledge me, and actually have them ask me a question, maybe yes or no question, even simply, and I say yes, and then he acknowledges that, and like how flippin' cool would that be? I mean, that's all of our dreams, at least. I mean, for I think on the audio team, everyone I've talked to, we all feel the same way about it. It's a huge thing. So
any updates on text to speech system?
Yeah, I mean that's moving along. We're setting up some research in this quarter, even to kind of push forward on it. But roadmap, priorities. But it is definitely something that we see as a really important feature for us to get in. So it's coming.
Okay. And lastly, what does the Hercules sound like?
Epic. No, that sounds great. We've actually spent a long time going through not only the thrusters and all the cool stuff, but the interior ambiances, because it's a huge ship, and there's so much interdependence between what the ship is doing and the audio feedback you get from like components, words, and whines and ambiances and stuff like that. So it's going to sound really fitting for the size of it, and it's one of the largest ships we worked on for a little while. So we hope that you're going to be happy with it.
Cool. That's it. That's our show. Everybody, thank you so much for being here on the show with us this week. We are going to throw the what is it called? It's called a raid to, who are we raiding, Tyler? Meyer. Ugh. All right. We're raiding Meyer. He's got a nice hat. No, Meyer's cool. Meyer is a longtime volunteer. Anytime we got events in the EU, Meyer is always there helping out. So throw the raid over to Meyer. Say hi. Ask him where he got his hat. For Star Citizen Live, I'm Jared. That's Bob. That's Phil. That's Graham. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, well, that was a lot of information there. Most of 95% I didn't know anything about.
Hey, it was very informative, especially if you're into audio. Absolutely. So yeah, great show for learning about the ins and outs of sound design in Star Citizen. We'll go ahead and take it over to the guys here and see what they got to think, huh? So Pops, what you think? Audio.
Yeah. Well, Kelosal being a musician, Griff being a musician, should be right up your alley. The changing, using EQs, compressors, things like that. But they're more talking about when they talked about the animal, creating the animals from the low frequencies, moving into our ability to hear them was really interesting. And then plus we have to remember sound is math. How fast sound moves is math, and that's what they deal with. Mathematical things in math. It's very interesting, real nerdy, but
what sound isn't nerdy? You gotta love it. You really. And I was actually thinking when you said that about the different sound when it comes to sampling. I was also a musician, so get into the sampling. You bang a rock up against a metal wall, and that would give you this interesting sound. You slow it down, add bass, do something like that, and yeah, you can come up with so many different things. What about you, Fist, the other musician over there?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is right up our alley, once again. Yeah, I'm really they now I will say this, they have a tall task in front of them to go back earlier in the video what they talked about creating Walla in a dynamic way. Whereas you're not just hearing crowd noise, you're hearing actual conversation between NPCs. And it's not just becoming a static conversation every time you come in and see that NPC. There's so much that they're going to have to do as far as from dialogue to programming that to audio cues and all of those other things that go into it, it's going to be a lot of work. Now, I believe that they can do it, and everything, and I would like to see, them do it, because I mean that really brings out the immersion in a game. Like, for example, like when the first time I've played, going back to the game GTA, when you walked around in the open world, you could walk and just follow an NPC and just they would pick up a phone and start conversating, like they were doing in the real world. So that kind of immersion, for them to be able to then take that and now make it dynamic, where you, like he said, you might pull out a gun or start shooting up the place, and then, things start, happening, where you might come back the next day, you won't see that NPC and you'll see a different conversation, or you might see that NPC, but you might see a different conversation from them. So it's a lot of things that they're going to bring into this game. And I mean, it's a tall task, but I believe they can do it.
Yeah. It's I like about the NPCs having to develop a conversation amongst themselves, and Elite Dangerous actually did that with theirs, and that's one thing I pulled out of theirs. They actually do have the NPCs that walk around talking to themselves about whatever's in the lore is happening in that particular system. I think that's really interesting. That it's definitely possible. I think on a bigger scale, Star Citizen's got a lot more to do because it's more handcrafted. So I agree on that one. Adam, or Admiral Kusanagi, what did you think of the SCL that we had?
I mean, it's along the same lines. They would have to, for that same topic, they'd have to have like 100 different scenarios at any given, like one specific, like Levski would have to be like 100 different scenarios that would be random, and maybe they would, I don't know how they would do that, but I am looking forward to saying red alert and having my character go to red alert, or yellow alert. I know that was kind of brought up about having like a red alert in your ship. There was something else I wanted to bring up. I can't remember what it was, but that was a pretty good show. I know what it was. It was when you now that they brought back going into atmosphere and you got like the red flame going around your ship, like will they implement a sonic boom from that? And if they do, does someone on the ground hear it? Colosal's shaking his head.
Colosal's shaking his head. Yep.
And the only reason why I'm shaking my head is because, based off of what he said, I mean, Admiral, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was disappointed at his latter answer, when he basically said there was too much math involved and blah, 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 blah. And it seemed like to me that it wasn't possible. Or it could be possible, but it's going to be so difficult and so expensive, because he said it's going to cost money, that they may not be able to put it in. Now, as a son of Florida, I'm from Daytona Beach, and we're 60 miles away from Port Canaveral. And so I've seen a lot of space shuttles go up in the air and come back, and I've heard the sonic boom myself. So it is quite a sound to hear. So it kind of disappointed me a little bit when I was like, I wish people could experience that, or at least hear it, because it is quite interesting to hear. So I can understand how difficult it can be to put in there.
So Kelosal, I have a proposition here for you. I think I think you're doing mining, right? So I think you should get away from mining, and then I can hire you to be like an official sonic boom announcer. So you would be like a professional player next to me, and whenever I look up and see a ship come through the atmosphere, you just go boom.
Yeah, okay.
Boom. And you'd be like, and then you could, of course, if Fist to Face kind of wants to pay for you for your services, or Dark Knight, you can go out and I can
just
stream it. It'd be fun.
Just to hear that first letter that comes out of my mouth is very expensive, sir. Very expensive.
I think Fast God has a question for you.
What for me?
Yeah, he says Did he mean expensive as in money or PC resources?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
I'm not paying Kelosal and PC parts. We're just talking UEC here.
Right. Because it is very taxing on your computer when it comes to this this technology that they talked about, spatial audio. Me and my dad did kind of touch, kind of messed around with it a little bit. There's a company called Audazine, I believe it is, right, Pops? Waves actually got into it as well. It's their headphone company, and what they designed in is
Real
3D
quick,
audio.
Commander Chase, thanks for the follow, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead there, please.
Yeah, no, I was just try to be real quick about it. It's they specialize in 3D audio within the headphones, and what it had in its uniqueness of it was it had a head tracker feature. So as you turned your head, just like you're in the game, it would attenuate the sound, to how your position of your head was, and it would tax the computer a lot.
Follow Dark Chow.
It was
thanks, Dark Chow.
It was very at the time it had quite a few bugs in it, but it was really like when it worked, it was spot on.
Like Toby eye tracker for your ears?
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like that.
Man.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
that's intense.
Yeah, it's and the clarity of it was great. So if they can really get this down packed and make this thing, with the fidelity that they're talking about, and as well as it being robust, I mean, you're talking about a game changer within the game. I mean, right now you have programs like Dolby Atmos that you can get on Windows for certain games that do support it, and everything. But from what they're talking about, I mean, to go beyond and like having that sonic boom come in for like Kelosal.
It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
But
yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like you said, the mathematics of it and the cost. Because you have to have in a single player game, maybe you could pull it off.
Yeah.
But you got to talk about all the different players, all being affected by distance, sound, atmosphere, everything else. The people would cry bloody murder that they waste time and money to put that in the game. I can see that
everybody
the
wants to
community's not
do a
gonna want
room at
that.
once.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So just like Admiral Kusanagi said, get a garbage can, hit it, and call it a day. That's gonna be it.
No, you just gotta put the garbage can over. Have your headphones on, and then
But I'm gonna tell you
up
something
in
though.
there.
I'm going to tell you something. And a lot of people think, and you're right, though, Griff. I'm not saying you are correct, but a lot of people, what happens is though, once you test it though, and you put those like I said, those headphones on your ears, and then when it's working, it's like that saying: once you go something, you will not go back.
Yeah, but you yourself said that it was taxing on the computer, and that was for one person. So multiplayer, maybe we'll see. Down the road.
If they can get it, if they could pull it off,
down the road,
it be optimized. I'm more hats to them.
Okay. Well, guess what? I want the Endeavor and I want the Banu Merchantman before they get to that. So down the road. Down the road.
I have a question for everybody here, really, especially you, Griff. Is there any technology that isn't really mainstream, similar to what we're talking about right now, that would be beneficial for someone to buy? Like, I know some people are buying 3090s and stuff, but what about if like you were buying like a kind of like a business, you want to get like a server or some blade or something just you just wouldn't expect it like a regular person to have? Is there any technology that like you could use for CPU or other memory? Like, I know you look at the Intel Optane drives, that's kind of like I think above and beyond what normal people have. That technology getting better, because we know SIG was looking into that technology, something on the lines of that. And then can we talk about more of that in the future? You know, if we can find some other information.
Yeah, I mean, we can have a conversation about it in the sense of, you talking about like for people who are looking to build like a high-end type of rig?
Yeah, is there any other technology that could, you know, even if we were going to like have like a show on it or something like that?
I mean,
like, hey, you know, I know you had that one show and you were like, you went over
rigs and stuff. That was a while ago.
Yeah, you did go like,
you
went over like a rig. This is like what you use for rig. But is there any stuff out there that we normally wouldn't see or use that?
You know, the problem, I mean, I'm going to make this real quick. The problem is that we're always chasing technology. You know, most retail stuff that we get is already pretty much obsolete within months. And so to go high end, I mean, like right now, when you're talking high end, I mean, you guys know graphics cards. You can get ridiculously priced graphics cards in 5 digits. And who's going to invest that type of money when technology is constantly flipping? You know, there's nothing that you can buy and say, this is going to stick around for X number of years or blah, 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 blah. I mean, right now, like I think I shared on one of the shows just recently, since I started playing Star Citizen, I've upgraded my rig 3 times. And so even if you're buying the most premium thing that's out there consumer wise right now, what's the real lifespan when now before people used to put out graphics cards every few years, now it's every few months. You know, I mean, it's gotten kind of crazy. So you'll be chasing technology all the time. I know I've got an Optane, and Optane is still considered one of the better drives. But you know, is it really something that you need to do when technology, not just technology changing, the software demands change as well. And it's so hard to predict what's going to be good later. Like right now, we're talking about trying to get into Vulkan. So you've got to get stuff that's going to optimize that. And I mean, it's both hardware and software that's constantly mutating and changing. And so I think it's kind of difficult to get something and really feel like, I know I'm good for the next, 7 years. You know, I mean, we can say that, but the reality is, stuff just gets obsolete real quick. That's basically it.
I agree. I watched a show today about the next gen video cards. The 3090s were a big leap, but the next ones are supposed to be twice as fast.
Yep.
So you're right. They just became obsolete.
So to close this thing off, at least, are we still on this thing? Are we going to machinima?
Yeah, let's go to machinima.
All right. So to close this thing off, the one thing that I am looking forward to with the audio is VoIP. I think VoIP has been underrated, underperformed in the last several years. And they said something that this next build was going to have VoIP very stable. So I'm looking forward to people using that. I just think that's something that's going to be really take this to a next level. It's going to be respected. All right. Machinima, Operation.
All I gotta say is dolphins and chainsaws.
Dolphins and chainsaws.
We'll leave it at that. Machinima.
Operation Reclamation, XENO threat, a Star Citizen machinima. Let's go ahead and go for this threat.
Steweymyster.
Okay, Kelosal, if you're talking, you're muted.
I knew it. Well, like I said, I interesting. I want to talk about. Let's go ahead and check and see if we can answer this in one word. Start with Pops.
Oh man, I mean,
one word, Pops.
How they get one word?
Fist to face.
All right. Cool.
Kusanagi.
Pissed.
What?
Pissed. Pissed. Pissed.
Oh. Interesting. Dark Knight.
Epic.
Epic.
But I'll tell you why later.
He knows the person, probably.
All right.
Yes.
I mean, I just thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one word that I'll use. I guess you can go ahead and elaborate, Dark, on what you were talking about earlier.
Okay. So I didn't mean epic as in it was the greatest film of all time. No, I meant epic as in the sound was pretty decent. It was great, epic type of sound. It had that dramatic effect to it, and they did a fairly good job with the camera work. Especially in the beginning, I think they did a really good job with the camera work. Otherwise, the story or lack thereof kind of, it was okay. But I think the sound and the camera work that they did was good. And so I'll say it was on that epic scale, but it wasn't like a blockbuster film or anything like that. So that's my explanation.
All right. Well,
we can get some more elaboration from your guests. I'd like to hear
more
what they think. Yeah, absolutely.
Spread out that one word.
You were constrained to this one word exercise that Colossus put up.
Get one word.
You got one word to
y'all
describe
didn't
it.
get what I was trying to do with that. So Grip said he wants to elaborate.
I'll elaborate. I mean, to me, I would have liked to see them with the storyline. I mean, if you're going to take over the ship and the ship is sending out a distress beacon, usually in movies, what they'll do is they won't kill the hostages. They will round them up, and, hold them somewhere. So your rescue would come and then, board the ship and then take out the enemies and then save the day. So it's kind of like, wow, they just pop. And then the ships, they just came in and just shot them up. I mean, it was a cool thing. I liked it, the cinematics of it, but I just wish they would have went that route with it,
Yep, that's kind of what I was saying about that story. I mean, the shots were good, the music was good, the story was kind of there. So I don't know. What do you all think, Pops? What did you see in there?
Yeah, the reason why I said great because I enjoyed the shots. The shots were really nice. The way they tried to set them up. The only thing is, I hope they didn't shoot the lady through her nose.
I know they shot the girl.
Yeah, I was
That's why I said
spot like right on her nose. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna shoot her through her nose. Come on, man.
All blooded.
That's why I said pissed off. I didn't like it. It was the guy in the front is got his gun down. It's like he knew what was in there. And he's like, I'm a badass. I got this crazy mask on, and they stopped popping the civilians who were like on their knees, and I'm just like, what type of movie are we watching here? And I mean, it made me hate the pirates more. And so when you saw them getting attacked, you felt a little bit better because they were getting what was coming to them. But up to that point, I was like, I absolutely hate this thing. It's just not my type of gameplay.
Yeah, I can see
agree.
that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah,
My gameplay.
Totally agree.
Kelosal.
Because I mean, okay.
Kelosal. He's sitting there with his look. He ain't saying that.
I was the one on the mask.
I see him in there.
So he was the one with. So this was.
Look at that face.
I missed all of that. I missed all. Well, I mean, look, I will end my weekend on a good note. I thought the video the effort was pretty good with the video. Now we've seen a lot of machinimas on this show, so I mean, if I was to rate that, then it would be an interesting talking point. But you know, it was. I think it was interesting. I think they put some effort into this, and I give them credit for it. I would like to see them probably elaborate a little bit more, maybe in a part 2 with this, and things like that, to check and see where this could go. You know, but you know, I would give them a good effort for this. It's quite interesting. See Mr. Man with the Van Duel mask just walk in front with laser beams behind him, and he didn't get tagged at all, not one time, even from a ship full of civilians that didn't have a weapon or two. So, I mean, interesting point to make, and of course at the end when they blew up the Prowler, you didn't see that the Prowler actually blew up the Reclaimer as well.
Reclaimer too. I saw that too. Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm not trying to point out all of the flaws, but for the most part, I'll give it some quality points for effort. Nice job.
There were some good shots.
Can I say this though? This is a good training video for those that are on a reclaimer or any industrial ship to basically, you know, learn about being boarded and to be prepared.
Yeah, blow up the bloody ship.
Yeah. This could be a good training video.
Yeah, blow up ship.
If you're in a ship like that, you should have like a already contained alien, a xenomorph ready to go to release it, and you're like, okay, enjoy.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing to an alien type ship in Star Citizen right now. So.
Yeah, not bad. You know, not bad for the group.
And you know, the more machinima that comes out, the more we get to see from the community. So I think that's great. And you know, they're enjoying the game and showing what they enjoy about it and making some art out of it that we get to enjoy Friday night.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to them making another one. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So
it's good effort, just not my cup of tea, though. I give them. You can't take that away from them. It was a good effort and some great camera shots.
The piracies. Well, thank you, Adam. You just joined the Care Bear Club with me, buddy. I keep telling you that's yes, sir. Come on along, Care Bears. Care Bears stare. We'll stare with our chests wide open. Get these pirates.
Which one's on your chest? Do you have the rainbow, the star, the shamrock? Which one did you already claim?
The one with the cloud on, the dark cloud, the purple one with the cloud.
Like a blue. That's a blue bear, isn't he?
No, not the blue one. It was the purple one.
No.
Oh, the purple one. Okay.
This was the purple one. I believe it was the purple one, the one with the cloud.
Okay.
It was always like a rainy cloud right there.
I'll have to check what my options are.
Can I jump in real quick? I want to put in a quick plug. This wasn't on the docket. I forgot to put it on. Guys, we are going to be hosting a Bar Citizen. Soul Citizen is going to be hosting. Give me 1 second here. We are going to be hosting a virtual Bar Citizen, and I'm going to put the information in chat. And you guys have to register for this because it's going to be not just for us, but anybody in the community. As you guys know, since last year, Bar Citizens pretty much got suspended. In fact, there's only one going on right now over in Europe. And normally there are multiple ones going on every month. And so we're going to do one sponsored virtually, and anybody can come to it. There is a RSVP for it, though, but we're going to be doing it on, I think it's Saturday, May 1st. So here's the info in chat. And if you guys want to register for it or RSVP for it, there's the link for it. We also have a Soul Citizens Facebook page that we launched this week. There's information that'll be posted there for it as well. So you can go there or you can follow that link right there. And if you want to register, you guys, love to have you guys be there, you know, have some food, have some drink, get to meet other people in the community. those of you who participated in the Bar Citizen, you know that they're a lot of fun. So just want to kind of put that out there now. I'm waiting for it to go on the actual Bar Citizen website because we submitted it, but somebody probably hasn't gotten to it yet. But I do want to get the word out to our folks now so that you guys can register for it. So once again, May 1st, and it'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Saturday.
All right, you heard that from Griff, guys.
Yep.
Admiral, I do want to before you get started, Dark, I do want to go ahead and apologize. You are correct, sir. It was the blue one. His name is Grumpy Bear. So you are correct.
You want to be Grumpy Bear. That matches you at least 80% right there.
At least 80%. Just a little bit. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Dark.
No, I was just gonna say. Now I forgot. Yeah, come join us May 1st, and come hang out, and we could talk some Star Citizen and anything else that comes up to mind in our community. So that would be it would be fun to see all of you there.
Yep. I do want to thank, before we go ahead and leave, I do want to thank our panel and our guests for coming in. Admiral Kusanagi. I want to thank Fist to Face. I want to thank Pops in Space. Admiral, thank you so much. Where can we find you? Anything you want us to know about you before we let you go?
Me, I just bother people who stream. That's my deal right now. So thanks for letting me bother everybody.
We love you, brother. Thank you for coming
Anytime,
on.
Man.
Fist to Face, where can we find you, sir? Fist to Face does some good things on the weekends, guys, with that DJing. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Well, you can find me over at Twitch TV /Fist to Face Gaming. Tomorrow we will be doing. Well, actually, no, it's really. Actually, today. Excuse me.
Today.
Actually, today we will be doing, because that's probably what people thought, Well, but anyway, today we'll be doing another DJ live set. This week's theme will be roller skating.
All right.
All the sounds that you used to feel back in the day when you roller skated. We'll be doing it at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be going from for about 2 hours, from 7 to 9, and hopefully, bring your dancing shoes, your roller skates, however you want to do, and enjoy.
Nice.
It's a nice party, y'all. So come and check it out.
Fist, what's your page? Tell them what your page is.
Oh yes, it's twitch.tv /Fist to Face Gaming.
All right, everybody, you heard that? So go ahead. I've listened to it for 2 straight weeks in a row. I mean, he's awesome music, awesome guy. And I hope you guys go ahead and partake in his channels and give him support and give him the love that he definitely deserves. Pops,
what's up?
I love that name. Tell us what way we can find you at, Pops. I'm quite sure you're going to be always around dealing with Fist. So let us know what's going on.
You can find me with my son, Fist to Face. Also, you can find me at Galactic Enterprises Inc.
Yeah. Nice. Yep.
Right. That's right.
My son, and great group guy.
Nice. I would always like to Dark, as always, good to co-host with you, buddy.
As always, man. As always, good time. And where can you find you, Kelosal?
You'll be able to find me this Sunday. I'm on Soul Citizens, right, Griff? I'm on Soul Citizens this Sunday.
Right.
Plug the screen. It's right there in front of you.
So there you go. Soul Citizens live on Sunday. Come and join us. We'll be talking about the update to 330.
It'll be out. Watch.
At 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So come join us on Sunday for Soul Citizens. Kelosal, you seem like a funshine kind of guy. Yeah, I am. With a red saber as a Sith at heart. So please come join us, guys, on Sunday. It was great. Thank you, Griff, again. Dark Knight 35. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Everybody on chat tonight that we couldn't name because you were talking, that we wanted you to talk. And those of you guys that were talking and participating, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And just like Griff always says, thank you for joining us. And what is it? Love, peace, and soul, Griff?
Pretty close. Peace, love, and soul.
Peace, love, and soul. That's Griff's word, guys. We'll see you on Sunday night.